Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons video. Today is a super special day because today, March 20th, 2025, marks the 5th anniversary of the launch of Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's just crazy to think this game is now 5 years old, having released March 20th, 2020. I have no idea where this time has gone. Anyway, Nintendo have acknowledged this incredible milestone with some brand new Animal Crossing New Horizons artwork in the art style we've come to love to honour the 5th anniversary, which is of course wonderful to see. This piece of artwork is extra special because if you look closely, it's actually the Animal Crossing New Horizons box artwork, but 5 years on. The player's tent has of course been upgraded to a house, the bridge has been changed, a lighthouse has been built in the background, the crafting bench swapped out for the anniversary, but even the original villagers seen on the original box artwork return for this piece. Here we have Apollo, Rod, Filbert, Fuchsia and of course Bunny, marking the celebration with a present. Even Harv can still be seen in the background at this angle. What a lovely way to honour this incredible milestone and really helps to demonstrate how far we've come. I mean, this guy is debt free. Now, Animal Crossing New Horizons received approximately 12 significant updates with several patches in between, spanning around 20 months or so. This did of course add content that was designed to keep us playing and provide new experiences for 3 or more years and beyond. 5 years later and Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold close to 50 million copies, making it the best-selling physical video game of all time in Japan, surpassing that of Pokemon Red and Green, as well as the second best-selling Nintendo Switch game worldwide, with tens of thousands of new Animal Crossing New Horizons players every week. That's an incredible achievement. Of course, Animal Crossing New Horizons is a very different game now than when it launched, so in honor of New Horizons 5th anniversary, I thought it would be fun to look back at all of these significant periods of New Horizons and remind ourselves what all of the updates actually added to the game, because it still weirds me out to think New Horizons launched without the ability to swim or gyroids. So if you're excited to take a Dodo's flight down memory lane, be sure to leave a like as it will help the video out a bunch, and let's jump straight in. Version 1.1. Now, our journey began on March 20th, 2020 when New Horizons officially launched worldwide. Right out of the gate, Nintendo dropped the first update on launch day, which set the stage for upcoming events and added new features such as multiplayer connectivity. This update focused on the Bunny Day event where players could collect eggs and craft exclusive Bunny Day themed items. Veteran players will remember this day very well. Version 1.1 also enabled Nook Link through the Nintendo Switch Online app, adding another way to purchase exclusive items, as well as the first batch of promotional items when linking Pocket Camp data. Everyone who updated also received a Nintendo Switch item as a thank you from Nintendo. Version 1.2. A month later, on April 23rd, 2020, version 1.2 brought a breath of fresh air to the New Horizons island. We welcomed Leaf, who began stopping by the plaza to introduce a variety of shrubs and flowers to help beautify our islands, and was originally responsible for gifting players the Hedge DIY. Furthermore, Crazy Red, rebranded as Jolly Red, also made his debut, offering a wide range of artwork, which in turn opened an entirely new exhibit in the museum. This update also rolled out a wave of seasonal events such as Nature Day, May Day, International Museum Day, and of course the wedding season, which each added unique activities and rewards for taking part. This update is also significant because it was the first to remove content, including the Hybrid Flower Mystery Island. Again, anyone who updated to version 1.2 received the world map as a thank you from Nintendo. Version 1.3. A few months into the launch, and Nintendo released version 1.3 on July 3rd, 2020. This update was the largest yet, adding the swimming and diving mechanics to the game and allowing players to explore the ocean that surrounded the New Horizons island for the first time. Naturally, wetsuits became a thing, and we could now dive for deep sea creatures and even encounter Pascal, who introduced the mermaid themed furniture set. Once again, several notable seasonal events were added added to New Horizons, but the most notable addition was probably Gulliver, a brand new special character debuting for the first time, sort of. He's one of Gulliver's many personas, but you get the idea. I don't really remember getting these gifts every time, but for anyone who updated, did receive the snorkel mask as a thank you from Nintendo. Version 1.4. The festivities continued when version 1.4 released a month later on July 30th. This update lit up our Sunday nights with the immersive fireworks shows, which was a fun community activity that also introduced Red's raffle and exclusive handheld items. In addition to this, version 1.4 saw the return of Luna and the Dream Suite and allowed New Horizons players to explore other New Horizons islands without the need for real-time multiplayer interactions. Again, several seasonal events were added, which became a regular part of the free content updates. For downloading this update, players received the fireworks show wall as a thank you from Nintendo. However, the most notable addition of version 1.4 was probably the launch of the island backup feature that finally gave New Horizons players peace of mind. Version 1.5. 6 months into the launch of New Horizons, and autumn leaves had begun to fall just in time for the 1.5 update on September 30th, 2020. This update introduced Halloween festivities to our island, adding not just Jack, the Tsar of Halloween, but pumpkins and the ability to grow vegetables for the first time. The goal of the event was of course to trick or treat with villagers and earn that candy and enjoy countless Halloween costumes. Given version 1.5 was heavily focused around Halloween, it comes as no surprise that this is when creepy emotions and spooky customization options were added in honor of the event. Interestingly, this is when Nintendo decided to remove the ability to catalog villager posters, and from this point onwards required players to physically move villagers in or scan their amiibo in order to obtain their poster. They did distribute the RingCon item though as a thank you for updating. Version 1.6. During the first year, updates continued on a regular basis and the holiday spirit was in full swing, with version 1.6 releasing on November 19th. Again, another sizable update adding both Franklin and the Turkey Day event that saw us cooking with ingredients in exchange for exclusive items, as well as Jingle and Toy Day, introducing a fun activity allowing us to deliver presents to our villagers. It should be noted that every time an event like these were added to New Horizons, they were actually time locked at a time and couldn't be accessed by time traveling until a real-time patch was released by Nintendo. Of course, this is no longer the case. Version 1.6 also updated the much needed home storage capacity and added several new hairstyles for players to enjoy. The Yule log was the gift from Nintendo for updating. Version 1.7. Moving into a new year and approaching the first anniversary, the carnival came to town with version 1.7 releasing on January 28th, 2021. This update introduced Festivale, a super colourful event hosted by Pave at the Plaza. The event saw players catching feathers and exchanging them for Festivale themed items, some of which were exclusive to the event day itself. Of course, several seasonal events were also added in this update, including Setsubun, Valentine's Day and a bunch more. Nintendo thanked players for downloading this with the Maracas item. As we approached the first anniversary, updates were including less content and weren't releasing as regularly. Version 1.8. In celebration of Super Mario's 35th anniversary, the version 1.8 update was released on February 25th, 2021. This update introduced a range of Super Mario themed items including iconic outfits, interactive furniture items, and one of the key items used today, the warp pipes. As you know, this item alone revolutionized how we navigate New Horizons islands. Can you believe we used to have to walk to the other side of the island? This was a relatively small update, although did add several seasonal events and their corresponding Nook shopping items. Version 1.9. 2 days before the first anniversary, version 1.9 launched March 18th and brought an exciting collaboration with Sanrio, introducing villagers and items inspired by popular characters such as Hello Kitty. This launched alongside reprints of the Sanrio and Animal Crossing amiibo cards and pretty much introduced the first items technically locked behind a paywall. Unlike the second, third, fourth and now fifth anniversaries that followed, Nintendo gifted handed players the first anniversary cake item. Again, version 1.9 included the typical content such as bug fixes and new seasonal events and holidays. However, the most notable feature added was the expansion to the custom design portal and the extra templates made available. On a funny side note, this was also the update Nintendo nerfed Bunny Day, reducing the egg spawns even more and shortening the event to only 8 days. Version 1.10. April 28, 2021 saw the release of version 1.10, which primarily focused on unlocking time-locked seasonal events such as May Day and International Museum Day for the second time, as well as introducing a second maze activity and a chance to encounter Rover again. Although more seasonal events and items were added in this update, it was relatively small because all major holidays had already been added to the game by this point. Version 1.11. On July 29th, 2021, another small update released bringing Animal Crossing New Horizons up to version 1.11. However, like the previous update, focused on unlocking time-locked events for the coming months and adding seasonal events and items, including new handheld items available during the fireworks shows and new Halloween items available from Nook's Cranny. Version 2.0. A year and a half into the launch of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and updates had become more and more sparse with less and less content added. However, on November 5th, 2021, Nintendo dropped the biggest update New Horizons had ever received, and if the DLC is included, which we'll get to shortly, essentially doubled the size of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Version 2.0 was a game changer and turning point in bringing people back into the game almost 20 months after it initially launched. There's almost too much content to highlight, but some of the notable additions include the roost that saw Brewster finally return to his cafe inside the museum after finding him randomly on a mystery island, and Cap'n and his boat tours that gave players the ability to discover mystery island tours, to find islands in different seasons, and of course new materials and recipes. Version 2.0 also expanded Halves Island with the open air market and several returning special characters and their pop-up shops, new luck mechanics and items, new hairstyles, new customization options, and much more. Cooking was added, all with new DIY recipes and items. Gyroids returned in version 2.0. It's actually crazy to think an Animal Crossing game launched for over a year and a half without gyroids. Thankfully, an enormous catalogue of gyroids became available to discover. New villages were added along with their amiibo cards, home expansions and ordinances were introduced to make island life more convenient, and hundreds of new items were added, including ceiling decorations and new fences. It's actually super hard to imagine New Horizons without these things now. Anyway, the things we've mentioned barely scratch the surface of what version 2.0 actually added to New Horizons, but it didn't stop there. Happy Home Paradise DLC. In November 2021, alongside the massive 2.0 update, Nintendo launched the Animal Crossing New Horizons Happy Home Paradise DLC, which essentially tacked an entire full game onto an already ridiculously large game. This paid expansion gave players a part-time job to design vacation homes for villagers in an entirely new location, unlocking new interior design techniques such as partition walls and counters, and added light adjustments and sound effects and various other customization abilities. New shops and buildings were also made available as part of the DLC story mode, giving us a reason to visit the archipelago other than designing villager homes. Now, the reason this addition to New Horizons was so huge is because everything added in the DLC, such as the design features, could be used on the New Horizons island, not only opening up the interior decorating of your home, but that of the villager homes too, to a whole new level. There's an argument to be made about when this DLC should have released, but needless to say, its impact was huge, and once again, just like when swimming mechanics were added or the ability to warp across our islands, the 2.0 update along with the DLC once again revolutionized Animal Crossing New Horizons and made it into the game we now know and love today. And again, it's actually hard to imagine Animal Crossing New Horizons without any of these updates. It launched a very bare and empty game and became an incredible farming, designing and life sim game full of items and opportunity, no doubt changing the direction of the Animal Crossing franchise forever. So there's nothing left to say than here's to 5 years of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'd also like to thank you all personally for sharing your time with me during this period, and I hope my videos have helped or entertained you in some way over the last 5 years. Thank you for sticking around whilst we wait patiently for what's next. Peace.